Hi again, hand readers. When we examine the fingers of a set of hands, we're looking at several different criteria that we need to combine and cross-reference before coming to any conclusions. Their lengths, the relative size of the phalanges, the spaces between, any bends or leans, the predominant phalange level, the nails, any rings that the person might be wearing, etc. And today I'll talk a little bit about the relative thickness of fingers. Thank you to subscriber and viewer Vicky who requested today's topic. I really enjoy to receive requests for topics, so keep it rolling. Those of you, if you've got any particular interest in any part of the hand, do please ask me and I will do a presentation. When it comes to the thickness of fingers or the thinness of fingers, we have to consider too the length of the finger. So the length will to some extent influence the interpretations that I'm going to share. But because all of these variables are so intricate, and because there's also a very strong component of intuition involved in how I personally interpret fingers, it's the best way I feel that I can present it is to break it down into one small section at a time. So are the fingers thick or are they thin in relation to the rest of the hand? If you don't know me, I'm Jennifer. I've been reading hands for many years. I'm based in Johannesburg. If you'd like to study with me or if you'd like a reading with me, please don't hesitate to contact me. You'll find my info at the end of this video. Here's a photograph of thick fingers. I'd invite you to guess who these hands might belong to, or this hand rather. It is a famous person, and I'll share the answer to that question at the end of the video. This person is more practical and materialistic rather than spiritual. We could say a solid practicality. This person exposes himself to life, who has quite good, I would say, coping skills, excellent coping skills. Also, it doesn't take much to figure this man enjoys physical contact. He would have a robust constitution and a lot of energy and appetite for sex, for food, and for money. Also, those people with thick fingers might show talent towards being enterprising in business, and on the downside, a very coarse side to the nature. So wait until you hear who this is. Now here's an interesting photograph. This is Erwin Johnson, the famous basketball player. He's kind of well known in hand-reading circles for his rather unusual hands in that he has large palms but with very thin fingers. And this has something to do with coping skills in life. Because thin-fingered people are more idealistic, more impractical and sensitive, they are happier really when supported by prescribed routines. And the infrastructure in this case of this man's, let's say, sports club would support him more easily and more readily and more successfully, let's say, in life than if he were out there in the business world. This kind of person would function best when there's a prescribed routine, like all sportsmen have to show up for, really. People with thin fingers often have quite a delicate constitution. There's a sensitivity aspect to it here. They might be very fussy and fastidious when it comes to food, and seldom greedy. They may pay a great deal of attention to their health. Often people with thin fingers are quite high-strung, there's a very activated nervous system, and life can feel quite threatening. There's even a saying that might be associated with very thin-fingered people, and the saying is, "I am barely capable of living." So there's a tremendous sensitivity that is signaled by very thin fingers. People with thin fingers are generally more refined. When it comes to their sexuality, there'll be a fastidiousness. These are not crude, vulgar types at all, just the opposite. They're likely to be more imaginative and more idealistic, and especially if the fingers are on the long side, there'll be quite a great deal of subjective thought process and probably spiritual and philosophical leanings. Next week, I'll be talking about the basal phalanges, the lower level, we call them the water level phalanges in the 5-element system. Are they thick or are they thin? And lastly, the answer to who the mystery hand belongs to. Well, this is not the most refined person, although he's extremely famous. It is the hand of Prince Charles. I hope that doesn't upset anybody, but this is not your most refined, spiritually evolved human being on the planet. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.